I remember reading, again, another article talking about your work in the Houston schools and reading this anecdote about a woman who had graduated decades before and had theoretically excelled in the school,
Yeah.
but had to take remedial classes when she had graduated. Um, we see that in Maine all the time. Kids, when they're starting at community college, they're having to take remedial English, remedial math. We've come to a place where that's an expectation
Yeah.
as kids are entering college, that they will have to play catch up before they can even really start their college courses.
We do a disservice to kids if we're not being honest with them about their reading proficiency or their ability to succeed after college or after graduation. If we're and we do a disservice to them, we need to be clear about that. But we also need to do a better job of educating them, and so that they don't have to take remediation. For example, we have an advocacy group called Good Reason Houston in Houston, and they do a great job. And they did a study of the class of 2017, and 6 years later, 2023, did that group of students in Houston, if they still were around in the Houston area, what percentage of them had a livable wage? So I don't know, 14,000 students graduated in 2017 from Houston ISD. They also did the other neighboring districts. 6 years later, what percentage of those students had a livable wage? And the percentage is 17%.
Wow.
That's terrible, right?
That's terrible.
Criminal. And I'm not saying it's all down to the school system, but a lot of it is. Because if a kid can't read at grade level on graduation, what do you expect? If they can't do math at grade level, their opportunities are limited, and that's what that leads to. So they point to Algebra 1 as being a leading indicator. So the percentage of kids who pass Algebra 1, 6 years later, if they don't pass, are they getting a livable wage or whatever? And then also 8th grade English. So we look at our Algebra 1 scores in the last 3 years have improved 24 percentage points in 3 years. Algebra 1.
That's incredible.
And so I think that's the job we have to do for kids. So that 6 years from today, or 2026, let's look at 2032. Those kids that have been in our system for 3 years, they graduate in 2026. Let's see what they do in 2032.
I think that is such incredible data, looking at that. Because the reality is, no one policy, no one piece of life is in a silo.
Right.
Everything impacts. So as I look around our state, in Maine, I go, okay, we have politicians demanding that we raise the minimum wage so that workers can make a livable wage. But we also have students whose test scores are the lowest they've ever been in our state. And those two things are tied.
Yes.
You have data that shows that those two things are tied. So maybe instead of artificially, implementing change through government to artificially lift folks' wages, we should look at the root cause.
Yeah.
What are the root causes here of
right.
folks not having a livable wage?
That's the first job of school systems, but also of society, is to make sure that kids have a good education. At least that's part of the promise of America, and we're not doing a great job with that as a profession. And I think we need to look in the mirror first and say, look, what are we not doing? And are we truly putting kids first? And are we making the tough decisions? It's easy to say, let's buy a textbook. Let's get science and reading materials. That's easy, saying we're going to raise expectations, we're going to monitor that, we're going to have accountability, and we're going to make sure you come to work